Good afternoon, world. It's moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, the heart of the Lone Star State. Today is November 14th, one day before my brother Kevin's birthday, and it is the 18th episode of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our palatial studio here in the second floor building across from the Waxahachie Sun in the shadows of the Ellis County Courthouse. And I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch. And it gives me great pleasure, honor, and joy to introduce your friend and mine, our host, Scott Brooks.
Thank you, Bud. Welcome, everybody. It's noon on this beautiful Thursday. It's getting a little nippy out there. Matter of fact, this time next week, it's supposed to be in the low 60s as a high. And then the next Friday of next week is supposed to be in the 50s.
And Pete Delka's the best dressed weatherman in the world, was showing me last night a couple of lows of 38 and 39.
That's when it's complaint time. We just got done complaining about how hot it was for months. Now
Not me,
it's
I
time.
thrive on the heat.
So we have we have a no complaint season. It's generally between end of September and now. So anyway, thank you for being with us. Thank you all for Instagram on this camera. For those of you, Sammy's messing with the phone because he knocked the tripod over. But for you guys on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and what's the Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook? That's it. So welcome, everybody. We love having you here.
Simultaneously, all of them.
All of them at the same time. You can comment. You can call us. Jeff will tell you the number because he's memorized it as he goes.
972. I think it's 972-268-9441. And it indeed is 972-268-9441. So I have indeed memorized it. And Scott failed to mention to you that you can come back and watch these at later moments on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook if you go to the Waxahachie Sun page.
That's right. So, and that's how we watch to see how goofy we look. But hundreds of people are doing that. So whatever floats your boat, as they say, we want to accommodate you. We love doing this show. This show is about current events in the world, abroad, our world here in Texas, and our little world here in Waxahachie. We try to bounce around and just share with you things that maybe you hadn't thought about with certain topics. Today, we've got a number of things we want to talk to you about. The first is, I don't know how many of you have seen or heard about what both universities and businesses, and that encompasses a lot of things, have. I don't know if I would say they've been forced to do since the election, but that they are doing, and that is providing.
They do it, Scott, because they care.
Oh, yeah, okay. They've created these safe places, meaning like, these little kumbaya rooms with bean bags and soft music and stuffed animals and televisions and games and all that sort of.
I retired too soon.
I hear you. or they are providing days off for both employees and students so that they can, my favorite word, ostensibly go home and recover from what supposedly they experience as a result of the election.
Well, UT San Antonio likes to call it a day of reflection.
And is it one day or was it days? Sammy will show you. There's some articles that Sammy has, but I think in some cases it's days where these people are given time off. Now, I'll be the first to say, had Kamala won, I would have needed maybe an hour, and it would still linger. Like I'd be like, "What is going on around here?" But I wouldn't have to close down the sun or anything like that, regardless of what my employees. They're strong, good, quality driven people. So I don't think there's any one of them, regardless of which side of the aisle they sit on, would have come to me and said, "Scott, I'm taking this hard. Can I have a day off?" I'd have said, "Have you lost your mind?"
But people are taking it hard, and I don't know if Trump had lost. I think people would have taken it hard, but in a little different way.
Yeah, I think. I mean, when was the last time? When was the first time or the last time any of you watching? If you have, then tell us by commenting where we've seen a company or school or any place close down or create accommodations for the conservative side of things, when we lost an election in 2020, I don't remember any of this taking place.
No, but I will say this. Thank goodness we did not have rioting.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know why? You know what you want? Huh. You know why I think that's the case?
I would like to know.
Because it was a slam dunk. It
Yeah,
was definitive. Had it been, Wednesday afternoon or night or Thursday when it was
yeah,
announced and Harris or Walter or whomever weren't conceding,
right.
then I think we would start seeing
I
that
think
stuff.
that's a good point. And but we had this discussion in a recent show. That slam dunk appears to be a slam dunk, and it was at a, electoral college wise, but in the grand scheme of things, that total vote population of 3% is not is
2% and 3.3 million people.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not slam dunk territory in
Yeah.
that regard. So
What I think it's, we can count. It's like the electoral college. We can always. I think this is sad to say, but we can always count on when they show the maps before the election. These are the states that are going to be blue. These are
right,
states going to be red. I think we can say the same thing for an election. There are going to be popular elections. There are going to be 70 million people on
yeah,
each side, at least. It's or 72 million or 71 million. It's that extra 4 or 5 million that we don't
right.
really know.
And we looked at those maps the other day, and they were great in terms of their graphicness, in terms of the detail, and the contrast between the blue spots and the red was completely urban versus rural.
Right.
And when it comes to rioting, you never hear about a riot out in West Texas in a cotton field or in a
Yeah.
cornfield in Minnesota
There
or
are
a dairy
no,
farm in Wisconsin. It's an urban thing, that rioting.
no doubt.
So we're doubly lucky
I
in
don't
that.
remember the last time Lukenbach, Texas had a riot
No, siree.
or protests. But at the same time, I say to you guys watching, and of course Jeff and I have talked about it. And what is going on? First of all, the media, which is one of the four reasons this country struggles. The media. I mean, people like Joy Reid, who can't say a nice thing about anybody and is as racist as they come, is having a meltdown. How about the people on TikTok and on X that are in their cars literally bawling and screaming and having what appears to be, I've never seen anybody have a nervous breakdown, but that's what I would envision, is people just losing control of themselves.
Right. And
And so that's what's happening. We Joy Reid. I know you probably are amazed that somebody like me would be watching something on MSNBC, but I'm telling you, go there. Not for kicks and giggles per se, although it is kind of for 5 minutes, kind of fun. But the best reason to go there is so we can understand what other views are saying, and I'm legitimate about that. If I think MSNBC is extreme, but with CNN or some of the others, I really do want to hear what people are saying. But Joy Reid had on a psychotherapist, and I dated one time way back when, and those are literal words for her, psychotherapist. And so the other night, this lady said it's best for your mental health. This will apply to some things you're going to share. Said for Thanksgiving, it would be helpful to you to disinvite or not attend a Thanksgiving celebration or dinner or whatever with your family if any one of them are on the left or on the right. I'm sorry. So if left or right. So in your case or my case, she's telling me that if I've got somebody in my family who is on the left the way that I am on the right, that it would be helpful to me to just my family now to just purge them.
yeah, every time we've ever had a discussion about anything regarding LGBTQ, tell me if this is essentially what I always say. I said, I don't really completely understand it, but I know it's natural and it's real. And I know that I have members of my family that are loving, caring people, and I judge them on the fact that they're loving, caring people, and I don't judge them on that aspect. Is that basically what I say?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So
yeah. I
one
got
one
you.
of those family members of mine sent this by Facebook, the day after the election, and it said,
Send it to you, or
no,
she posted
she
it?
posted on Facebook, and she has 97 comments, and I would say about 91 of them are fawning over her for her courage to say that, and a few people are questioning what she said. And she
Right.
said, if you voted for Donald Trump and you have a gay friend named name withheld, named with if you have a if you have a gay friend named such and such, you are mistaken. You know somebody named such and such who is gay. You are not her friend. You are her greatest fear. And if you don't understand why that is the case, you have not been paying attention. Please do me the courtesy of unfriending me. She wants
And that the such and such name is her.
her.
Yeah.
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 And
So
so she wants other people. If you did not vote for Kamala, you should tell her that. And then,
and then you're not her friend.
but you do the disfriending, not
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me if you voted for somebody besides Kamala and then disfriend me. That's taking it kind of hard.
That is taking it real hard. It's and here's the thing, Jeff, and those of you watching, I don't, and I'm not being sarcastic with this. I'm not trying to needle anybody or tweak anybody, but again, I watch these other shows, I read other viewpoints. I really do, because I want to understand if I'm missing something, because I often say, what am I missing? Just like I'm saying right now. What is it that these people are afraid of? That I don't, I mean, you can say to yourself, there's a monster. I can say there's a monster coming in that door. I can sit here for hours and say there's a monster coming in this door. At some point, the mind will start to believe it, or I'll need to check to be sure. So I guess it, it's not theoretical. It's real that people, we have the capacity, the ability to convince ourselves that something that isn't real or that isn't going to happen is actually real and going to happen.
There's a sense of disbelief that it happened. Picture yourself being a Democrat. Picture yourself being a liberal Democrat. Now you've had Joe Biden in office. He's gotten a lot of his liberal agenda through. Um, he stumbled through a variety of things. You pull the plug on him quick. You throw in Kamala. Oh, I saw this the other day about Kamala now. Now she's being listed as the first, uh, she would have been the first woman president and the first person of Southeast Asian and Caribbean descent. The black's gone away now. It's now called Caribbean descent.
Really?
Okay. It's,
Interesting.
but so you think you're on cruise control. Kamala's got Oprah. She's got all the big celebs, Beyonce,
whatever her
whatever,
name is.
you know, and I just don't think in their wildest dreams they thought that they could lose to Trump, especially knowing, and I've had people tell me, um, I don't like Donald Trump as a person. I just don't like him. But I voted for him because of his policies. I don't think they thought that part would happen. I
No.
don't think they thought they'd have the coalition of the Hispanic vote, the black male vote, and the suburban housewife vote. Okay. I think Kamala thought, I got all the women. I got all the women guaranteed.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big group, that suburban housewife group.
It's a very big group.
And so I just think they're reeling in shock, and they're and that's part of why they continue to quibble amongst each other and point fingers. It's it's like the Cowboys. You're trying to figure out where did they go wrong. We dissected what caused them
Right.
to be a 12-5 team 3 years in a row and now fall apart.
Right.
You know,
So yeah, I agree with all of that. And again, I go back to, what is it? If I were to have, I'd love to have a Democrat on the show in a very polite, just like I've had Democrats on the show before, a polite conversation. My first question and primary question would be, what is it that you all are concerned with or afraid of as it relates to a Trump presidency? He's already been a president for 4 years. He's the same man. He's learned a lot since then. He's going to govern in a way that we're familiar with. So what
Yeah.
is it? Nobody. There were no internment camps. Nobody was in front of a firing squad because they disagreed with Trump. Nobody was prevented from living their life the way they wanted to live their life. And now, 4 years later, we have 70 some odd million people who believe that there's something to fear. And I just don't know what that fear is. And fear is, I've written about it several times. It's obviously the great debilitator. Fear is either going to drive us to do better, and that's a good use of fear, or in most cases, it is to worry us, stress us out, make us do things like this, what you just read, make people sit in their car and scream and cry and go on and on. I just don't quite understand. And as I wrote, we're going to talk about my column here in a minute. As I wrote yesterday, I have an opinion about. I think I can back it up. An opinion on about how history's going to look at Trump, and it isn't going to be one of he was anything like a Hitler, or he did all these things that people had good reason to be afraid of. So I just don't quite get it. But these institutions, academia is 1/4 of the problems I see in America. Media, academia, religion, and what's the fourth one? Media, academia, religion.
Drunk drivers.
No, well, that's true too. But there's the why can't I remember? I think about this all the time, but I'll think of it here in a minute. But academia is no longer about education, and I'm talking about secular media. Is no, I mean, academia. It's no longer about education. It's about indoctrination. That's why we see these students. That's why we see these students needing this stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's an amazing thing to witness. And who knows where society's heading? If that's what we have to have today, good Lord, what's going to have to happen 10 years from now unless things reverse?
And that kind of conversation would make a guy hungry any day of the week. I can tell you that.
Cancun's. One of Waxahachie's longtime restaurants and very good food, Tex-Mex, breakfast, lunch, dinner, great people, excellent, wonderful ambiance, good service, great bar setting, great patio, particularly this time of year, although it won't be this time next week. It's excellent food. They're on 77 north of the bypass, 287 bypass by about 2.5 miles on the west side. You can't miss them. Great food. They're a sponsor we treasure, and they make great food and are just a wonderful group of people who great place to visit.
I
And
never knew till you told me the other day
yeah, they were.
that location. They used to be at that where there is a nice little restaurant straight across from the YMCA
Yep.
at
Butter and
YMCA
Grace.
Drive. Yeah,
I don't mind saying
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
yeah, they used
Free
to be
shout
in.
out, Butter and Grace.
Yeah, they used to be in that
Rita likes some
place.
guacamole.
They used, yeah, or hi Rita.
And she makes the best guacamole, and she makes it different from anybody else. And I'm not telling anybody what her secret ingredient is, and she won't tell anybody either.
Nice, makes
Yeah.
me hungry.
It's good.
We need chips. We need chips and guac right here in our show.
Do you know nobody can spill like I can spill? I was once told that the people at my office used to say this was a lie propagated by somebody near and dear to me, and the people at my office said that you could boil Jeff's tie after lunch for soup.
That's too funny.
Oh my gosh!
That reminds me. I used to live in Denver way back when, and there was a Mexican restaurant there called Tosh's. The guy that owned it, his name McIntosh was the last name.
Okay.
The restaurant was called Tosh's. It was great. We used to go there a lot, and I'll never forget. It was so bad that I remember it 30 years later. But all my buddies worked at the
Yeah.
Denver Post, and I were having lunch. I had this big old fancy burrito. We were dressed in our suit and ties and all that, and I went to cut it, and my fork slipped off, and it was sitting in a big pond of sauce.
Oh my
And
god!
I literally had so much sauce. I mean, it was on the back. It was on my back. Because when I cut it, I leaned forward, and it was so much of an explosion. It was on my back when I got to the office.
Was it hot?
It was hot. I mean,
Ouch!
it was good food. But anyway, so Cancun's is the place to go. All right.
10-4, goodbye.
Trump's legacy. Let me just let you ramble for a little bit and tell me what you think Trump's legacy, based on what you know right now, because he's got 4 years to go, what it's going to be.
Legacy is largely compounded by perspective.
True.
So let me give you the perspective I'm coming from.
Okay.
I voted for Trump 3 times, all 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I had misgivings the first 2 times because, you know what? I never liked that Apprentice show. I always thought a show about you're fired should have been a show about you're hired. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He was and is a great philanderer. The great Bill O'Reilly, who's written some great golf books. And I told you I'd bring you this. I still have to bring it. He wrote a whole book about Trump cheating at golf. And it's pretty. I mean, he caddied for him at times. And so here's the thing. How he will be treated, his legacy, here's the way I look at it. They're going to talk about the things I talked about, and then they're going to say, and he did win that 2016 election, and then all of the stuff that happened in 2020 when he lost,
right.
I think he got hung out to dry to a large degree. But back to his term from 16 to 20, I don't think he accomplished nearly what he wanted because he was handcuffed by
impeachments,
handcuffed by all that stuff, plus a Congress that was the other party.
Yeah.
I mean, so he was almost lame duck the minute he started.
Right.
So legacy is defined after you're dead.
True.
We can't be defining his legacy right now.
No, we can't. But that's why I'm asking you to look forward and say, okay, what do you think?
So looking forward, I would say this: it looks like it's all but certain. Although, did you hear that there's that one Senate race is now going to recount in Pennsylvania? But that's an automatic deal kicked in by 0.39% difference.
Right.
If he can do what he says, and I think he's got the Congress to do it, and it goes back to, I've said this the last 2 shows, the most important thing is to take away the divide and to provide unity, to get it to where we don't have to be talking about the things I was talking about, to get it where people that are on the Democratic side are saying, you know what? I still don't like him.
Yeah.
I think he's a jerk. But guess what? It's working out okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that will define him. Can he do that or can he not do that?
He can do it. And I
we'll
think
see.
as my
Talk's cheap, right?
As I tried to, yeah, it is. I mean, we don't know any of this. That's why it's an opinion show. But the idea for me, as I expressed in my column, was that if we look back on people like, I mean, there are far more than just one, but just pick one, and that's Churchill. If Churchill in the 30s, and I'm no historian, but I went back for my column, as I do with every column, and did some research on what I had to say. Winston Churchill was not well liked. He was thought of as being a loon, and yet, in all of what comes with that,
boorish.
Yes, and all of what comes with that, just his disposition alone, he was not Mr. Excitement, Mr. Warm and Fuzzy. But when we think of Churchill, and whether you're on the left or the right, if you look back, if I just said to somebody word association or name association, Winston Churchill, people are going to say things like great leader, was bold and courageous and strong and driven and forceful and unafraid
and saved England.
And saved England because of all that stuff. I think Trump, again, we don't know until Trump's gone, and Trump's 78 years old, and he's got another 4 years in office, and he said what he's going to do, but we don't, like with anything, we don't know until the 4 years are over what this country will look like. But right now, I would say that his legacy is going to be, as I said in my column, not one of division, but one of unity, insofar as what he will achieve will have made, as you just said. You just said at the end of these 4 years, there are people that may likely say, I still don't like him.
Yeah.
But he did a great job leading America, and he kept us safe. He grew our economy. He dealt with social issues the right way. He protected this country. He didn't put us in wars, got us out of wars. Now he'll take us into war if it's called for, but he's not anxious to go to war.
Right.
So I think in some respects, many respects, he will be thought of just as we think of Winston Churchill. Matter of fact, at the end of my column, I say something to the effect of, when it's all said and done, that we will look back on Trump and not in the sense of a divider, but we will look back and say, because of who he was and how he did things, although bombastic and irritating for some, that he was the one who united our country and healed it, began to at least heal it.
And
That's what I think
I'm
should happen.
gonna put a little exclamation mark on point on that and say this: if in fact all that does happen, you know who's winning the next election,
Yeah,
don't
I
you?
mean,
Okay,
the next several.
well, I was getting to that next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then you're gonna have a 12-year Republican streak, and then we'll see. I wish I'd thought of this before to go back and look it up, but I'm trying to remember a streak in our nation's history where we had more than
We'd have to, yeah, I don't,
Eisenhower's Republican. Either way, I don't think we've ever had better than 8 years. We had 8 in a row from Reagan, right?
yes,
But he had Clinton before him, and excuse me,
after him,
he had Carter before him and Clinton after,
yes,
and Clinton had 2, but then he got George W.
right,
and
who had two,
who had 2, and then Obama had 2.
yes,
Okay,
and then we had Trump
we had Trump, and I'm
for
trying to
one.
get any gap
Yeah,
farther back. I mean, it's
I think the closest you could say in terms of streak,
FDR,
well,
FDR with 4
but plus I think
in the
that
40s,
the
30s and 40s.
Clinton for 8, uh, who was between Clinton? Yeah, okay, you just said it. So I think the Obama, there were gaps. So I think largely, if I had to say, well, which party has had more of a streak than the other, realizing that neither one of them had a long
Right.
consecutive streak, that it would be the left. That there was more of the country under the direction of the left in the past 20 years than the right. That's what I would say.
Sure.
And hey, Terry, thank you for being here, bud. I would say now we're looking at, to your point, a really good point, that if Trump, right now he's got the House, despite what happened, well,
Right.
and he's got the Senate,
Yeah.
despite what happens in Pennsylvania.
He'll still have the
The House is tight. It's
Mhm.
not a wide margin, but the control will be the Republicans. The Senate is going to be somewhere around, if not, it's going to be somewhere around 53-47, which is a pretty strong, dominant Senate setup for Trump to get things done. So, and then of course we got the presidency. So if that little trifecta of groups hits a home run in the next 2 years, there's really not much of a reason to change it at the midterm.
Sure.
And then continue that. Then you got Vance, who right now is, I think he's 39 or 40.
And I had somebody tell me the other day that did not like Vance at all and said he's a sleazy used car salesman. I thought, well, read his autobiography.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hard pressed. I mean, you might be able to say some things about him, but
Yeah,
that used car salesman is not what I would say,
Me either.
given what he's done and what he's accomplished. The thing about me, for Vance, I think he's a little bit nerdy, which there's no problem with being a nerd. It's not my style, but I think he has a little bit of a. It's not natural for him to be to go on Joe Rogan and whoop it up with the boys. That I think there's a little bit of him having to open himself up to some vulnerabilities to be able to show what little side of that exists. But when you think about Vance, he's going to be after these 4 years, he's going to be younger than 45 years old.
Yeah.
Then he's going to pick a running mate, and his running mate is going to be somebody in that in that age range. Correct.
Correct.
I imagine somebody like a Tulsi Gabbard, or any number of folks. Could be a large Trump.
Yeah.
So I think there's a, and I don't. To me, if Biden could have achieved great things, whatever party's doing and the country's prospering, I'm all for it. They can have a streak for as long as they want it, as long as they're It doesn't matter to me who the Dallas Cowboy quarterback is. If we're winning, that's great.
And we had this discussion once. I don't know if you remember it. Who is the president in my lifetime, barely in yours? That's too big of a clue because you'll get it now. That after elected was actually still loved by the other party.
Well, that's I don't know if you're talking about
I'm
Kennedy.
talking about Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy. What is what a real. We're coming up on that anniversary,
Oh my
and
God.
what a tragedy. He was how old was he when he was killed? 40 something.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what he would have
Oh
achieved?
gosh.
And yet he was. I don't.
They look back on that history with him and in the beautiful Jackie Onassis
The kids.
as the Camelot era.
Yeah.
We had Camelot shattered by a gunman in
And
Dallas,
same people
Texas.
like young people like Sammy and others don't know much about Kennedy, but he had it all. Looks, he was he if you say,
Let's
well,
have a
what
little Kennedy show
we
week
can have,
after
we
next.
can do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think that Trump can't do it now because he's not in office. But I think soon after Trump gets in office,
The
all
one.
that stuff's coming out
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
really what happened with
Mhm.
Kennedy. But Kennedy, sharp looking, very effective, articulate, communicated well, knew his stuff. He was
Oh,
known to be a bit of a
philanderer also.
philanderer. Yeah. And then his son, who would have been on the political scene. I remember I was in New York City when that plane crash happened with John Kennedy Jr. and what a tragedy that was because he was much like his dad. So I I want the country comes first. Doesn't matter to me who's running it. If
Mhm.
it's prospering, that's who we ought to keep in office. And I'll be shame on me if because I'm bitter and whatever else that I want somebody like these people right now are complaining about Ramaswamy and Musk. And I'm not saying that what your concern is a complaint because I do want you to express it, but we'll do that when we get to the
Mhm.
cabinet. But this is an effort to rid the government of trillions, million, whatever you want to call it, of waste, and yet there are people making fun of it. I'm like, why would you make fun of it? It's designed to ultimately help you. They save $2 trillion. Guess who's going to get more and more tax cuts? Who's going to get more and more infrastructure
Right.
upgrades? So anyway, all right.
Okay.
Let's flush that away and let you do your thing.
Let's flush that away. So, what he is, of course, referring to is our fine sponsor, Mr. Reuter. Founded in 1970. They're 54 years taking care of people. They got offices all over North America. They've got, they do both residential and commercial. You're going to get licensed experts, insured plumbers, guaranteed parts and workmanship, courteous uniform professionals, convenient appointment times. They're going to be friendly with every client. They're going to arrive on time. They're going to keep your home clean with mats and shoe covers. They're going to provide a price before they start. They're going to deliver high quality, durable repairs, and they're going to stand behind the work for your peace of mind. And they do remodeling. You can update that bathroom. All of a sudden, it becomes a source of pride, not a source of shame. And you can get them at 469-214-5179. That is 469-214-5179. Or at the web, Mr. Reuter, ROOTER.com//Waxahachie. You know, I stumble sometimes with that phone number because 214 used to be an area code.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a 4.
Oh, yeah, that
Okay.
would be
It's
confusing.
the first three digits. 469-214-5179.
People in Buffalo are able to have shirts and hats made. People that Buffalonians
Yeah.
that are really proud of it, which we are of Waxahachie, and they can put their area code 716. Some teams do that, and others. I think the Mavs may have a jersey, or some teams have just their
area code,
a special jersey. Yeah,
Huh.
but we can't do that here because we got 972-469. And there are others. And
Yeah.
and so we can't. I wish we could. I wish Waxahachie had its own.
And those new area codes, it's confusing to me because you got a 952 in Minneapolis and a 972 down here. The
Oh,
the
yeah.
two groups where I
I
both
can
have.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
All right. So
Third world first world issue.
let's talk about soon to be president again, Donald Trump's team to date. So we have, I don't know how many people are on this team, but it looks to be probably about 20, 25. So I'm going to read through Trump's cabinet as has been announced so far. Now, several of these have to go through the confirmation process, which isn't for a couple, maybe at least one, isn't going to be all that pleasant. However, with a 53-47 majority in the
Mhm.
House, in the Senate, it can go
Right.
much easier.
Right.
But it may not go easier, but you have to just, it's like Brett Kavanaugh having withstand what he withstood and then it's like Clarence Thomas had to go through hell, but ultimately he was confirmed. So
I'm going to preface when you go through this. I just want to say this: my darling bride Rita, like she started calling me Rayman for a while because I was a little bit of a sports savant on stuff, and I certainly don't have the political knowledge that you do. So I'm only gonna speak up about six of them
Okay.
as they come along, not
Okay.
all of them. All right.
Well, I've ranked them on a scale of 1 to 10, and I'll show that in just a minute. But let's start with Chief of Staff is Susie Wiles, who's been with Trump for quite some time. U.S. Ambassador to the
Can we talk about them as we go then?
if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Number one, great pick.
Yes.
The first pick you make is your chief of staff because, and they are going to be the ear, even more than Vance. Your chief of staff has your ear day to day, all the time.
Yep.
You pick a woman, you pick a strong woman with a good background. You do away with this whole concept that you don't have any strong women in your life. That is number one, a primo pick.
I've heard a lot of dumb things said in my life. Mark Cuban's statement was one of the dumbest because I don't think Trump did this because of what he said, what Cuban said. He did it because he was going to do it. And there are others on here. All right, I agree with you. Susie Wiles has been with Trump for a long time. She's smart. She's aggressive. You know whose daughter she is?
Give me a clue. I think I might have heard this.
Famous, great, one of the greats.
Pat Summerall.
That's right.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff for Donald Trump, is the daughter of Texan Pat Summerall.
And what did he do before the broadcast booth?
I have no idea.
I believe he was work on this one for us. I believe he was a running back and or place kicker for the New York Giants. Pat Summerall. Just like
Summer, and then the word all one word.
Yeah.
All right, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Elise Stefanik out of New York. She's a little fireball.
We like fireballs.
She is a very smart person and has done a good job in New York. Take that, Mark Cuban. National Security Advisor Michael Walls. Go back to Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. My opinion on her, without knowing anything other than what I know now, and we haven't seen her performance, but I give the pick a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Elise Stefanik, I gave the pick a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. National Security Advisor Michael Walls, who right now is a congressman, I believe from Florida. Sharp guy, military guy, knows his stuff. I give him a 10. Anything on him?
Nope.
No, okay. Border Czar Tom Homan. Border Czar, he does not have to be confirmed because actually I'd pay money to see
it's not
that
an official
confirmation.
position. And when they gave Kamala those responsibilities, they didn't call up Border Czar at the time, but as she failed in it, that's when that name came in. Really,
somewhere it got applied to her. I don't know how it happened, but Border Czar is very clear label now. Tom Homan, who ran ICE, has been a cop, has been a border agent. No nonsense, will bust your chops if you look at him the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I give him on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being great at 12. That pick. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee.
Great man from Arkansas. And wasn't his daughter the press secretary?
And she's the governor of Arkansas.
And she's the governor now.
Mm-hmm. And he was the governor before.
Yeah. Well, what's he been doing since then?
He's just been a kind of a talking head. He may work with some nonprofits. I know he's also on commercials endorsing a brand of, I believe, vitamins or something.
Yeah.
But he's going to be in Israel. He was on last night on a show I was watching, one of them. And the question was, well, I think it was on Jesse Waters, but Jesse asked him, are you ready? And are you going to be living? How long will you be over there all the time? And he said, I'm super ready.
How old is he?
He's in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he said, we're actually going to be moving there.
Wow.
So that's a big deal.
Well, you kind of have to.
I guess. There you go.
Okay.
Place kicker and tight end, Pat
For the
Summerall.
Giants?
Good one. Yeah,
Nice.
good one.
Good job, big man.
Yeah. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, Lee Zeldin, who is also another high-performing past congressman. He ran for the governor of New York and lost. He's a Republican, obviously. I give that pick a 10. Middle East envoy, Stephen Witkoff. These couple of these guys, I don't know that well, but what I do know is speaks highly of them in terms of their performance. White House counsel, William McGinley. Those two guys have been with Trump for quite some time. CIA Director John Ratcliffe. John has been in the House of Representatives, very strong on intelligence. He's also another.
Wasn't he on the Judiciary Committee?
He might have been.
Yeah.
He's just a sharp. He's from Texas, sharp, no nonsense. He's not like Tom Homan, but he's a sharp guy. I give that pick a 10. Department, we'll save this one to the last. Jeff has some things he wants to share on Department of Government Efficiency, the DOGE department, run by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. So Pete Hegseth, he's taking a beating right now from the left, particularly the media, just really disrespectful, it's repugnant to call this guy who has 2 Bronze Stars, was in the military for more than 2 decades, 44 years old, father of how many kids, Sammy? 7 or 9. Very sharp young man. He has a weekend show on Fox. He knows his stuff. And if you've ever heard him talk about the military and about the world composition when it comes to the military, very, very, very smart. I think the pick's a 10, and I'm not surprised. I am disappointed that people will just make fun of him. And I think people making fun of him, they couch it as we got what's her goober name? Whoopi said he's the weekend host on he didn't even have enough. He's not good enough to be the week host. He's on the weekend. She left out every reason why he was picked. It has nothing to do with him being a Fox News host.
So, and I like his Bronze Star, and I like his commentating job, but I think he's light on political office, and that's a pretty big job for a guy that's light on political office. But he's doing defense, and he's in the service, so I give him a pass in that department.
Well, it's probably one of the reasons why Trump said it. This guy's not political. We got to get the job done. Homeland Security, another one for you, Mr. Cuban, Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota.
And that is another star pick on my point. I know it's not the biggest state, but they do get 2 senators, and and she's been the governor there, and she's done a good job. And I think she is a rising superstar.
Yeah, I think so too. I gave her an 8 only because she got into some weeds because she revealed that she had killed one of her pets rather than handling it like we had to deal with Maggie. She shot it. And so she's
that's the way you do it in the country. They shoot horses, don't they? They did a whole movie called you know what?
I mean, I couldn't imagine ever doing that to one of our pets. But hey, the motivation's the same.
Yeah, I'm not ripping her for that.
So she's taking a hit there. Deputy Chief of Staff Dan Scavino and Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. Both of those guys are very smart. Both are loyal to Trump. Let's see. James Blair for Deputy Chief of Staff for legislative stuff. I don't know him. Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications and Personnel. Don't know. That may be a woman. Taylor Budowich. Get down to Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
Solid.
Yes, very solid. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, a 10. No doubt.
And I love the fact that he was a bitter rival
Yeah.
of Donald's. Okay. And now they got their Florida. Okay, it's all
I
good
think
and well and fine
I
now.
think Trump. I
Yeah.
mean, I think Rubio's the one who remember somebody said Trump's hands are little, and I think Rubio started that. Said Trump's got small hands, which you know how that goes.
I never noticed that about him. We
No,
we
he
got
does.
we got Chuck and Terry coming in with kudos for Huckabee,
Yep,
both of them.
yep. And Terry, yeah, both of them. All right. So, and then
Kudos, not kudos.
Matt Gaetz for U.S. Attorney General. Something's up there. I give that a 6. Although I'll give you talking about popcorn and a Coke to sit in front of a TV to watch that hearing, that confirmation. That's going to be incredible,
Right.
because Matt Gaetz was responsible, led the effort to get rid of Mike McCarthy from the speaker's position. He's got an ethics probe going on, although it's dropped immediately because he just yesterday resigned from the House of Representatives. So by rule, they drop any ethics probe, which was set to be released this Friday. I mean, there's some stuff going on there. It's a surprise, huge surprise. I would have been in favor of Ted Cruz being our Attorney General. I just want somebody in at our Attorney General that's going to follow the law and provide justice and not get caught up in the politics. And if somebody is not adhering to a subpoena, or somebody like Hunter Biden has done illegal things, then prosecute. Just prosecute. All right, back to the last one, and then we'll go on to your poem.
Oh, okay. Well,
Elon and Vivek. Y'all keep saying Vivek. It's Vivek.
Here's my only deal. I think it's great for us to have well, it's not going to be a cabinet level department, but we're creating a department to do away with bureaucracy. We created a department to get rid of bureaucracy. We're making more bureaucracy. I think that's a little bit funny. Two great choices to do that. Number one, though. Number two, they both have significant other jobs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I don't know if these guys are doing this out of the goodness of their heart.
My guess is they are, but who knows?
Or if they're getting the ching ching.
I don't think. I think they're intuitive and smart enough, obviously, to not become a bureaucracy trying to destroy bureaucracy.
Right. And the only other thing is, what teeth will they have? Will they be more of an advisor? You're no better than your ability to get things done than your ability to get things
absolutely.
done.
So I say this: they have come out and said they will have a site dedicated to this, that any citizen can access at any time. It will be totally transparent. It will be for us to also say, hey, my experience with the VA.
You mean running this without a bunch of brick and mortar? I like that. Okay.
Yeah, but it allows us to say, we could have gone to. I've got a son that was in the military, so he could go to the VA and experience this, and be able to go online to that site and post it and say, I'm struggling with this. Can you look into it? And they promise they will. But Elon has said we're gonna find $2 trillion of waste and cut it. And here's the other thing: they don't have to be confirmed, but I would love to see that. Imagine Musk and Ramaswamy being in front of these senators, half of which don't know left from right or how to walk through a door. They would eat these senators up.
Yeah, and maybe they're going to act as the department to advise Trump, which is beautiful.
I think, they're going to go say, Trump, we got, these toilets we're buying for $12,000. We can get them for $100. Trump's going to say, do it.
All right, we got 12 minutes. We've got to get a poem in. We got to get in history.
All right,
we're going to talk real quickly about. You got a friend you want to talk about?
Well, I'm going to do it at the end.
At the end, okay. Poem. Sammy, you got it up. All right.
Question is, do you?
Question is, I know it's on page 12. Lucky man, this is probably the closest thing to an autobiographical poem that I have, and the reason I was talking about doing this other one is I want you to listen later when I talk about Al Burnett, and I'm not going to talk long about him, but he dies of Lou Gehrig's disease.
The restaurant owner.
Yeah, the restaurant owner. It's called Lucky Man. I'm the luckiest man in the world. I lead a great life, and I've got a mighty fine wife. I've got a terrific job because it doesn't feel like a job. I work on Saturday, and it feels like a kid who went out to play. I'm a marshal at a golf course, and I try not to be course. I show newcomers the ropes. To the regulars, I give hopes. On each and every shot, they're giving it all they've got. No matter what they score, they'll be back for
More.
hello. In golf, there's plenty of fame, yet also full of regulars in a lifetime game. Friends play with strangers, then strangers become friends.
Right.
The dying Lou Gehrig claimed to be the luckiest man on the face of the earth. But if you ask me, I've joined him on that berth.
Very, very good. Very good
Thank
point.
you.
Both of us outkicked our coverage, as they say in the wife department.
Oh
didn't
my
we?
God.
Yeah.
No higher compliment can be paid to a man than to be told, you overmarried, dude.
Yep.
God bless.
Outkicked your coverage.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations.
All right. It's time for me to keep my winning streak going in our Today in History, which Samuel put the rules up. Jeff asks the questions. We give the answers, and you can too. Sharon will pop on here in a minute. As soon as she gets Google up and cranking, she'll be on. All right.
Okay,
Let's go.
I'm gonna tell you something here, and I don't know if this is gonna help you or hurt you in your quest. And bear in mind, you in the audience, you know how this works, but that we always go from oldest to newest. This is the most current first pick we've ever had,
Really?
and it is the oldest last pick we've ever had. Okay, here we go.
Interesting.
Journalist Nellie Bly began an attempt to travel around the world in 80 days. She would successfully complete the journey in a little more than 72. She beat the 80. Nice going, Nellie. Travel around the world. Doesn't say how she traveled.
Well, that should be a
It's
clue.
I would think boats would be involved.
Well, yeah, but if you said airplanes, then I'd know it was after a certain time.
I'm not telling you. You do your figuring, okay? I didn't know any more than you did,
All right,
and I got it wrong too. So
Jonas says, "Shout out to Sonia and Rita." Exactly.
yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, okay. I'm going to say 1928.
Yep.
1936.
Don't make fun of my picks. Just tell me-
1928 is what I guessed also.
Oh, I thought you were going to make fun of my.
1889.
Holy Moses!
Wow.
Oh, I lost that one. So did Sharon. So did Sammy. So did you.
So Jeffrey Michael. Here we go. Eugene B. Ely became the first aviator to take off from a ship as his Curtiss pusher rolled off a sloping platform on the deck of the scout cruiser USS Birmingham off Hampton Roads, Virginia.
1914.
Confident. He's onto it. He knows something. I don't know. What does he know? You make your guess. Don't you follow him
no,
either.
I'm trying to figure out when the plane Wright brothers,
I was trying to figure all that out too.
and I can't remember, but I'm going to say.
And I thought they didn't have a Model T Ford till 1908. So what? I don't know.
I'm going to say 1930.
1910. How'd you know anything about that?
I have no
He
idea.
does.
That's
He's a blind squirrel.
good. That's good.
What was
Here
the
we go.
answer? 1910.
1910.
Sammy.
I mean, we barely had Model T
Look at
planes.
this.
Unbelievable.
Look at me.
Here we go. 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became the first black child to desegregate William Franz Elementary School in New Orleans.
34.
42.
60.
Man, big jump. I'm 0 for 3.
I had 54 there. I snuck in.
Oh,
The U.S. I got the bonus on this one. The U.S. Army's first major military operation of Vietnam War began with the start of the 5-day Battle of La Drang.
you got that right? Out of luck or knowledge?
I had a little bit of a clue about kind of how Vietnam went down. Yeah, it was an educated guess. I didn't know it for sure.
1970.
I'm going to say 71. I really was.
65.
We both got it.
He snuck in. I got the bone eye. Here we
Nice.
go.
What was your final score?
7 and 3.
Oh my goodness.
I got the bonus on this one too, and don't disappoint me.
I think Rita's helping you.
Rita never helps me. She roots
Mhm.
against
After all
me.
these compliments,
She
is
roots
going to
against
now.
me. She roots against me. Here we
Okay.
go. No,
All right.
she pulls for me, but no cheating. Apollo 12 blasted off for the moon 3 months after Apollo 11 became the first manned mission to land on it?
70.
69.
Oh, you know what? I knew that. July of
The,
69.
the last date
You
before that
said
was
3 months.
65.
I knew
It
that.
was 3 months because
Yeah,
it
I
was the
goofed.
same year that we landed on the moon.
Look, Terry's gotten in on the show now.
Terry's playing.
Terry, he got it right.
He got the 65 on.
Yeah, good one for you, Terry. Sharon, well,
We can't
Sharon
tell which
cheated.
ones they're picking from, which year.
Well, I think there is no cheating allowed. See?
You see?
Mm-hmm.
I stand
right.
up for you, Rita. God bless you. Here we go. I've never heard of this airline. It's out of business. A chartered Southern Airways plane crashed while trying to land in West Virginia, killing all 75 people on board, including the Marshall University football team and its coaching staff.
We are
We are Marshall,
I think I know.
the whole team,
I think
and
I
the
know.
coaching staff. Yeah, yeah.
No. 1974.
70 even.
Yeah, we need to watch that movie. We Are Marshall.
Yeah.
You seen it? I haven't.
I've seen it once a long time
sad.
ago. Here we go. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed above the 1,000. Bear in mind, it's at 44,000 here in 2024. Closed above the 1,000 level for the first time, ending at 1,003 and 16 cents. First time over 1,000. Sam, you're out.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Well, you're both wrong at 72.
Oh, Sammy.
I picked
Look,
76.
Terry didn't even Google and got something. He
See?
won a point.
See, now you're following him, and
Man,
students
I'm
are past
3
the
and 4.
teacher.
I got to how many more we got?
We got one left.
Oh, I needed this and a bonus.
Pressure's
on.
I got it wrong.
Is it possible? Is it possible that I would know it?
It's likely that you would know it, and I'm ashamed that I didn't.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better.
72 was our last one. Here we go. Miami Dolphins coach Don Shula became the NFL's winningest coach with a victory over the Philly Eagles.
Oh, my gosh. I should know.
On November, but what year? Yes, on November 14th.
That's the last one?
It's the last one.
I'm going to say 1994.
93.
Yes.
And
I still don't have a loss.
And Dumbo Jeff came in with a 1980 to end at 73.
80?
But I had the double bonus. That helped.
You missed it by that much.
I know. Wide.
All right. Well, I kept my non-losing streak alive.
What'd you go with?
4 and 4.
4 and 4.
How did Sharon? What was the answer to that question?
1993.
Oh, Sharon got lucky. All right.
And
good.
Kerry says he didn't even Google. We don't want anybody to Google. We want everybody to
we
have
don't
fun. And ask Sam. He has learned a lot about history since he's done this
he has.
in
Now, whether or not he
18 weeks.
remembers it.
It's
He's
tremendous.
got on that silly Formula One shirt again, Nico. That dude doesn't even. You got to go to like page 8 on Google to find him.
I'll
All
keep
right.
mine to 1 minute so you can keep yours to 1.
All right.
Albernay. There is a great restaurant in Dallas that I've never been to. We always talk about going, and we've never been, and we need to go even more now that Albernay died, the owner of Albernay's. And I read this whole thing about him, learned things that I didn't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love this line. Nice to see you was his signature phrase delivered in a noticeable Michigan accent. You know, after he'd been at that long enough, he was just always in his tightly pressed suit, working the crowd and knowing he could remember anybody's name.
And when did he pass away?
Yesterday.
Wow. At how old?
At 69,
Ooh.
which is how old I am. And I do that thing all the time in the paper now since we started. In yesterday's paper, 11 of 36 people were my age, born in 55 or younger. So I'm saying Again, we're coming in the 1/3 territory,
That's
and
just
it just shows you.
their time was up. Yours didn't. Yours better not be. Rita kick your butt. First
So
of all.
so
Secondly,
so
she'll keep you in line long
yeah.
enough.
So
All
read
right.
read more about them. You'll like it.
Al Bernay.
Al Bernay's restaurant.
Jonna says this is a little delicious. We're gonna have to try it, my wife and I.
Yeah,
Oh, by the way,
there's the one in Oaklawn is the original, and there's one in Far North Dallas. You would
Wait.
always want to go to the original, right?
Yeah. My wife and I are going tomorrow night to see Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul
Is it
at
public knowledge
AT&T
now?
Stadium. Are you watching?
She actually knows.
Oh, she knows. I told her. Yeah, she had to know because she was stressing out about what to wear.
I know.
Yeah,
what
she
did I
had
tell
to
you?
know. She had to know. So yeah, but
It's-
we're
it's-
excited
it's-
about that.
Go hot.
And then it's on Netflix. All right, one last thing before we have our sign off. Thank you for being with us. We really enjoy it. It means everything to us to make this show something you enjoy, that we can grow it, that it can become a positive place for all of you. I want to mention a friend of ours in our Sunday school class, Larry. Not long ago, discovered his heart was bad, and before we knew it, he had a heart transplant last night. He is all except his kidneys are responding well, so we're praying for you, Larry. Godspeed. So, and then look up an app if you want. Waxahachie's only app for Waxahachie. It's on Google and App Store called Down Home. Look it up. Lots of good stuff in there, and do that for us. So, thank you, Chuck. We enjoy you being here. All right.
And always remember, don't write a check that you can't cash. Boom.